gaming industry is just a mess right now. I don't think I've ever seen it this much of a mess. They are going through revolutionary changes, and unfortunately, a lot of ships are sinking.
And it's partly a recreation of the 1980s all over again. There's too many companies. There's a lot of stuff that's being sold for more than it's probably actually worth. The DLC situation brought together with the digital distribution system has changed things so much in both positive and negative lights that I don't know that the industry's really keeping up very well.
And some companies are dead set in their ways and are completely unwilling to change.
Now, that's been the comment about Capcom for a long time.
And EA.
And there's been so many companies merging together, which of course is going to add even more politics to certain things. Like the whole, that was probably one of the biggest that had two major empires butting heads there for a little while. It seems like they've worked everything out, but there's still a lot of people that don't like Activision, and I'm pretty sure Kotick still works at Activision. I think he's still the head of it. Square Enix seems to have done really well by Eidos. I don't know if everybody agrees with me about that, but Just Cause and Tomb Raider and everything that they've been putting out seems to have done well enough for themselves that they haven't changed a whole lot. They feel like the same thing.
The thing with Square Enix right now is they're actually listening to their customers. For a long time, they always said that we know what customers want. So they would do what they wanted, and they would completely ignore everything that the customers say. And they'd be like, we know what you need, we know what you want. And
I think Final Fantasy XIV was the eye-opener there.
Final Fantasy XIV was the big smack in the face for Square Enix, where the son told the father, you're stupid, but you have no clue what I want. And in Japan, that's just like, horrible. Yeah. But that's what it took. Suddenly, as soon as they started doing that, the customers are so happy now. Maybe we should have been doing this forever.
And they've got a new president now that may change how things are run. Hopefully this YouTube flagging thing isn't part of their new policy.
That will suck.
Because don't forget, it wasn't all that long ago we were talking about Sega doing this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And they kind of reneged on it and did a 180 about their policy on it. But I don't know, I think the more that this whole issue of copyright infringement and everything, like the SOPA Act and things, furthers, the worse this sort of thing is going to get. And it's going to get better. It's going to be fine for the major companies and the major news networks and stuff, because they're not going to be involved with it. As a matter of fact, a lot of these guys get changed out of the same pocket, so they don't care. But the little guys, the people who stream and record video game footage, or the people that bring gaming news forums and stuff like that, they're just going to kill them.
Yeah, they're going to die. They're going to die a sudden death. I think we might, the game thing completely collapsed, we would probably die a death too from it.
Oh, yeah.
Or we would be talking about old games all the time.
Well, there's always a market for that.
There's so many.
Because that is the good thing about the gaming industry at the present. Even if it did suddenly just get destroyed overnight, we have 20, 30 years of some really fantastic games we can still be playing because there's been so many of them. We've been so swamped with them. How many games in our own collections, and I know not everybody has a gigantic collection, but how many of those games has everybody actually beaten?
And
I mean, back in the days of the NES, when most people only really had one console to choose from, and they only had so much money, and there was only so many games released, so, and part of that was actually Nintendo's doing. They wanted to make sure only a certain amount of games got out. So people generally played the games that they had more, and more of the games that they had were either beaten, or at least they tried to beat them. Some of them were kind of difficult.
You mastered.
All these little 15, 30-minute long games gave us as much hours of enjoyment as these later games that only last 5, 8 hours, 60 in some cases, if you're talking about an RPG.
I can think of 2 games from the Super Nintendo that I could beat them within an hour, and I still enjoyed them immensely. Mm-hmm. And ironically, they're games that most people are like too short and blah, blah, blah. The Lion King and Aladdin.
Yep, they're classics.
Literally, classics. I enjoyed them immensely. I could play the crap out of them. Sometimes I'd play them in Quest Row, which seems weird now, but yeah, it's just, can I go faster than I did last time?
And I think that's another thing.
It's also fun watching Scar bitch smack Simba.
Where he's just sitting there.
It is the funniest thing.
But yeah, I think speedrunning is also going to be a thing that gets bigger and bigger. It's been done to death with certain franchises like Mario and Legend of Zelda and Mega Man and such, but I think it's growing. There's more and more games that you wouldn't used to think of speedrunning that is now getting speedrun, simply because there's not been a big market for it in the past.
I think the major thing that the game industry is going through is, honestly to me, it's like there's 2 game communities, the indie games and the AAA. Mm-hmm. And it just feels to me that all the AAAs could die now. They could completely fail, and that the indie games would be completely unaffected. They would just be like, well, that sucks, and they would keep going.
Yep. I'm not sure about the folks in between.
Yeah.
And they do still exist. They're the big game companies who build the niche games. And I think Nippon Ichi or Disgaea buddies are among these. Most of their games that they put out are not exactly AAA titles. They'd love to be, I'm sure. But at the same time, they're definitely not indie titles. So there are people people like those that are largely import people. They bring these little odd games off of Japan and bring it to the United States and such.
Then you got weird games that AAA companies release them, but they're not really AAA games.
Katamari Damacy sort of stuff.
Yeah, Anno. The Anno series.
Under the Skin. I don't know if anybody's played that bizarre thing or not. Back on the PS2.
I think it's really interesting about Katamari Damacy, because Katamari Damacy started as just a silly game that was supposed to be, just awesome. And it wasn't meant to be a AAA game at all, but then the franchise exploded. People love the game, and now it is a AAA game, the Katamari Damacy universe.
It fell back off again. It didn't keep the momentum.
No, it didn't.
And maybe because they made too many, it may have been the whole Guitar Hero thing where there was just too many of them.
You can only go so damn far was, running around picking stuff up. I think the last one was the father was missing and the son had to go find him, and he was just sitting on a galaxy relaxing when you find him at the end. Spoiler alert, but yeah, that's how it ends.
No! What have you done? Dumbledore does.
He made the galaxy into a hammock, and you get off the planet and you look up far into space, and suddenly you see this dot, and as you get bigger and bigger, suddenly you realize it's your dad. He's chilling on this galaxy hammock, and he's just like, what the hell?
Lazy.
Yeah.
Where you been? Cheese sandwich. Jill sandwich? Yeah, humor. It's out there somewhere.
It's somewhere. I was
far above the stars in a hammock, but it's out there.
Hammock.
This is where you need to do a little X-Files reference. The humor is out there.
I believe in galaxy hammocks. The rambling is starting to weaken. We can't think of much.
Kind of a rumbly, rambly, fumbly, wumbly. Are you talking to a baby? Kind of. You can always tell the unplanned episodes.
Oh, yeah, you can tell when we just don't know what the hell we're doing. We just wing it.
Hopefully things will get more and more organized again. I keep saying this.
I think it's because it's really hard as two people. When we have three, there's always that easy way to, third one comes in and objects or talks about something else, and we can just sit there and ramble because we feed off of all three of each other. But with two, it's a lot harder, it seems like. So I imagine you guys have had a hell of a time. Imagine last week had to be fun as hell because a new person talking to the thing has to last.
Anytime that you have an extra person on there that has something extra to give, some anecdotes, opinions, anything, that's always a good thing. Whether it's just guest hosts, even with the three of us all here, I think can work.
Yeah, I think so too, because sometimes we talk about a game that I honestly have no interest in.
Most times you guys have gone so silent, you almost don't even show up on the episode.
The Mega Man one. I didn't say anything during the Mega Man one.
Not much.
Not that I didn't care, was just I had zero knowledge, and just like with the Minecraft one, Mike didn't say a word. Not a word.
And then there's that other guy who keeps rambling on, even if he doesn't know anything about it, talking over everybody else. You're gonna have to do something about him. But alas, I think that is our show for this week. It's not been the best of them, but we're still sorting out the rubble. You can join us every Monday for the next PrinnyCast. We're in 4 parts now, so part 1 is Monday, part 2 is Tuesday, part 3 is Wednesday, part 4 is Thursday. We may be shifting those around, like what we said earlier about actually having a game news broadcast and then a topic broadcast. And if we do start doing stuff like that, I think we'll be more organized, but I don't.
Yeah, I think we would too.
We still have to keep these videos under 15 minutes until this thing is cleared up. Our date is May 13th, so we're about 2 weeks away from getting out from underneath all this, unless Square Enix decides otherwise. And I don't know why they would, but you never know, man. And thankfully, nothing's come up with the EA situation I was talking about earlier. We're going to try to avoid those from now on. If we're going to say something bad, I need to make sure it's not over a video of something of theirs.
Yes.
That way they're less likely to see it. But no, actually, I would love, and I'm going to make this statement now, I know it's never going to happen, but if there is some representative out there who would love to talk to us about the subjects that we have disgruntlements against, I'd love it. Feel free to come on the show. I don't care who you are. As long as you have something you can say of an official nature.
As long as you bring lots and lots of people to watch. Go ahead.
Well, that too. But I think that's the problem. They would want us to be bringing the people. Otherwise, why are we bothering making this statement? Yeah.
Bring my mom and my cousins.
Oh, well. But our Twitter is at PrinnyCast. Our email is at PrinnyCast@gmail.com. And, of course, Grover, who does sound like he's going to be putting up videos every now and then. Maybe once a week?
One up tonight, which tonight was Saturday, so...
Cool. So it'd be nice to have something back from you.
It'll be really easy for you to know if you press that subscribe button. Then you'll know immediately when I'm doing video.
And us too. You know, if you're watching us every week, why aren't you hitting that subscribe button yet?
You should be ashamed. Play a little interesting thing right now. Right as we're ending, just post a comment saying anything random. I don't care. Just to know that people are actually getting this far.
Considering this is the end of the episode of the last episode, yeah.
and that you like watching, because you're still watching at this point.
Random comments ahoy. Just let us know you're out there and you're enjoying us and all that good stuff. And maybe we'll stop talking about ourselves for once and actually get back on topics one of these days. How about it?
Woo-hoo! Possibly. Maybe. No promises, but...
Interviews, guest hosts, more videos coming, video collection, random playthroughs. We're going to try to make this all entertaining for you guys. But in the meantime, till next week, we'll see you all later.
Goodbye.